There's sunshine on my face. Might be a good day today. Quick project today. Did they bring it over here? No, dumbass. Hold on. Very simple tool modification project. One of these old, I don't know, I'm sure it's made in China. I don't know for sure. Doesn't matter. I got a little project that needs to be done, and this is the tool to start with, but I need to modify it. Let me show you exactly what's going on, and we'll get at it. So I've shown you the sawmill, and I'm in a part of the facility I don't actually rent, but it's under deconstruction at the moment. But the problem is this end of the building is falling in over time, and what they want to do is they want to remove this end, and they'll close it up and make it something else. But what we need to be able to do is to start stripping some of this siding. It's too good to where the heck are the nails at? Why do I not see nail? There we go. It's too good to not reclaim. So we're going to go ahead and just strip the nails like that. We can try cutting them off with the cutoff saw, but I think this will work fine. Problem with this is when you do that, you stand a chance of kinking up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this simple crowbar and we'll put a couple of outriggers out here with rollers on them so that we can drive inside there and just roll those nails out without hurting the steel. Simple project, but once that's done, then we can go ahead and cut the rest of this off. And once that's done, this is why I'm involved. Then we can take that side down, which we're going to reclaim, and then we can go ahead and get at the rest of the beams that I need to cut up with the sawmill. So that's kind of why I'm involved, but that's the project. This project with a freaking torch and a welder, and we wouldn't be spending a whole lot of time on it. I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of time on it, but basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some, I don't know what it is, maybe some 5/8, I think 1/2 inch rebar would be too weak. Some 5/8 rebar. Ultimately I'm going to build a horizontal that's 3.5 inches wide. We're going to bend a 90 on that. Come back about 3 inches, and I'll weld that right to the back of this. All right. And from a side view, these arms that are coming back, I'll just go ahead and roll them. All right. So that the crowbar will be. Let's see here. The crowbar will be. Yeah, the crowbar will be down in here. Alright, coming up like that, so when I pull on it, well, I got it backwards now. I pull on it, it'll roll those things up. So simple, it's actually such a small, simple project, but there's a little bit of complication to it, because we got to make these bends here, and on these out arms, they have to be curved. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and put the curves in first, and then bend the 90 on it. Again, it's not a tricky project, shouldn't be anyway, but it's just a good example of, you know, you modifying a tool, building a tool. You need a tool, make a tool, even if it's just not just blacksmithing. It's kind of what a lot of our history is, I think. So let me go ahead and get some rebar cut up. Like I said, I need 3.5 wide and 2 3-inch arms. I'm going to call them 3-inch anyway, so that's 3, 6, 9.5. We'll call it 10 just to be safe. I'll go ahead and grind down the oh, the hell with it. We'll go ahead and hammer out the rebar marks. I don't want to leave any dimples in the steel. I'll cut a piece 10 inches long. We'll hammer out the rebar marks. We'll put the curves in and go from there. So simple project, but again, just something. I don't have knife material, or I don't have these big projects to do, but I got this tool that would be enhanced, or I need to, you know, that kind of stuff. We all need to do that for sure. Hold tight. Looking at this 5/8, it looks a little bit heavier than I need, but you know what, go big or go home, what the hell. All I did is take the cutoff disc, put a score all the way around there so I know where my 10-inch mark is. I didn't want to cut it off, so this gives me a handle to work with, and hopefully we can get these marks at least smoothed out. It doesn't need to be perfect. While I have the handle on, and then we'll cut it up and start bending our little corners there. Feels good to get that fire heated up, because even though it's sunny out, it's kind of chilly today. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and work this to somewhat of a square. Square is probably just as good as round. All I'm trying to do is take out those rebar marks Not trying to do anything really tricky with it. Like I said, a few minutes with the grinder and it could have been done, but what the heck, let's go old school today. Get the blood pumping first project in the morning. Let's get those out of there and then we'll just square this off. We ain't going for looks today. Not at all. That's good enough for that back. Let's get the others and wrap this up. Wrap it up. I got most of it figured out. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Before I start putting all the bends in, I'm just going to hit this with a flat disc just to kind of smooth it off a little bit, and then we'll start bending it around. I just cleaned it up a little bit, didn't do anything fancy, just really quick and dirty, just to kind of get it smoothed down. Center mark, and then here's my 3.5 width, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to curve these guys and this guy up to this point, and then once I get the curve that I want and that they match, I'll just bend them over and we'll go from there. Simple, simple, simple. I actually want a semicircle. I want more of a curve out here on the end, and then I want it to be a little bit straighter as I get to my mark, which, let me find my marks here over there on the inside. So there's my mark here. So I got about 2 inches and then a little flippy flip on the end, because what I'm thinking is when this thing is bent 90, which would be here, I want to be able to get into it, and then have a little lifting, rocking action. I think I like that. I think that's about what I want, actually. I don't think I want a whole semicircle to that point. That doesn't look too bad. We'll do the other one and try to match it. Before I get the other one started, I'm just going to go ahead and sketch this curve. So here's my mark, and I'll just sketch it. There's my fingernail melting off. Smells bad. Just go ahead and sketch myself a basic curve, and that's to the dot right there. Give me something to shoot for on the other end. It's just got to be close. Where am I? Did a bit of my fingernail off. Reminds me of burning the horns off of goats. Bet you didn't know I raised goats as a teenager, did you? A few things you don't know. Alright, let's see if we can do what we did before. Just about perpendicular to the other one. Not too snabby right there. Come out straight. I don't know, it looks pretty damn good, guys. Compare the two. So again, this is a pretty simple project, but in reality, a complex shape like this, or semi-complex shape, it causes a lot of basic issues, and it's good practice for us newbies, because you see, they look relatively symmetrical on the curve, but this one comes off this way and that one goes off that way. And you got to, fix things like that. You got to figure out what you're going to do to make that happen. And it's all stuff like that, to be able to do those fine-tuning adjustments when you're actually on something major, even if it's something totally unrelated like a knife. It's good to have that practice. Any opportunity you get to do something simple, do it, and maybe overdo it a little bit, especially if you'd have time to do that. That's not too bad at all. So now all we need to do is find our 2 marks for the bend and put 90s in them. And we don't even have to be fancy. We're not going to go for like a square 90. We'll square it the best we can. I wonder if this anvil's 3.5 inches wide. That would be awesome. You would think I'd know that. It's just a little bit too wide, but that's it. This is 3.5 though. We can use this as our platform. Now, let me heat it up. Just to be able to get exactly where I want that to be on both sides. I want it to be symmetrical. I decided to go with the post leg vise. I cooled the tip down so I can put some heat or some hammering on that without distorting it. And this way I can bring it down as I want and also kind of square it off a little. And that way that mark is right in line, and when I do the next one they should be damn close to the same bend. So it isn't perfect. Where am I up here? But I kind of wanted it that way so that I can fine tune it over here on the anvil, get it square. Get it square, and we'll do that right off the side of the anvil. Oops, wrong side of the hammer there. A little cooled down, but gotta get these guys out over there. Well, I'm gonna put a little more of a square in this corner. I'm not going to try to upset it and give you a perfectly square corner because it doesn't need to be one. But that way I can control. This next bend should be very much the same as that one. I think we got enough heat on it. Find our mark there. I think we're good. We'll cool that end off a little. So we put a little hammer on it. And we want to bend like this, which means I got it in the tongs are only one on this side. So here I can find my hole again. Line it up exactly like I did before. Just want to check that. I had 2 holes there. Yeah, I'm good. Line it up like we did before. I'm losing a little bit of heat here. Ain't too bad right there. Square that off a little. Alright, exactly the same bend based on that mark. And now we can try to get in here and square this off somehow. Use these tongs yet. Get out of the way, Rich. Well, you don't hold very well. That's probably why I need. I'm just trying to make them both square, which they seem to look not too bad. And then these aren't going to work. I also want them to be the same. Where are you? In this direction here, which I'm not sure if I like them yet. They're not too bad. They really aren't. This one's up a little. Never the right tongue for the job. Yeah, I'm going to heat this one up. This one here, I don't know if you can see it. If I get the right angle, well, you can't see it the way I see it. But this one here is down just a little bit. So I'm going to heat this up in here, and we're just going to put it in the vise and straighten it that way. Just a little fine tuning, and we will call this done. So as you can see, this one here is just a little bit off. Because we want them to kind of round at the same time. I have to use a persuader just a little bit there. Oops, sorry I kicked you guys. Jeez Louise, such a rookie. A little more persuasion. I think we're going to be good. Let me get it straightened back up in the vise. It's not critical. Jeez, it's a freaking construction tool, you know what I mean? But like I said, take the opportunity on these where you have some flexibility, especially if you have a little bit of time, which I really don't. I'm liking it. I need to go in this way a little bit. I think that's good. Take the time, because you're going to get into some complex shapes. Now luckily this is huge. When you have a U shape with a weird look that you can't get around the anvil on, that's when it gets kind of crazy. But I think we're doing pretty good. I think we line up pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and harden this. One of the reasons that I used rebar is that I know, from my experiences, there's some carbon in there, and it'll take a bit of a harden anyway. So I'm going to harden this up so that it's got a little rigidity and won't bend, and then we'll temper it just a little bit back. And because when I weld this thing on, this part here will be tempered quite a bit, but I wouldn't mind having this corner hard and this corner hard. Alright, finish that in water. Not too bad at all right there, and I think that's all I'm going to do to it, because when I weld this on, I'm going to lose this hardening right into the corners. I think I'm going to clean this thing up. Where are you? Clean it up, make it look pretty, and get her welded on. I think that's it. Set it about this angle right in here. I think will work. As I apply pressure, it'll automatically start lifting that nail out rather than bending it out. So I'll go ahead and get set up, and we'll just put a couple of tacks on there, and we'll go out and make sure that it fits, and then we'll come back and weld it all back up. Alright, where do we decide we want this thing? Right around there, I think. I want it low as I can, but not too low. I want the leverage already being applied. I think right there. What do you guys think? Hell of a tool you got there. So we come in, we get the nail in, and then yeah, I mean, just instantly I'm coming straight up. Instantly it's a straight up motion. So let's go back out on the siding and see exactly what it looks like there. Alrighty. Let's see what we get out of this thing. So where's the nail? Why can't I find the nail? There it is. Alright, so we're here. Oh yeah, that's perfect, because just as I'm coming in straight, these things are laying right there, and yeah, let's finish welding her up. Bucket here, I'm trying to maintain as much of this hardness in this. I don't know, you know, it's probably a Chinese freaking crowbar anyway. They bend typically pretty easily, but once I get this first weld in and it's nice and hot, I'm going to go ahead and quench it, try to put some of that hardness back in some of that stuff, and then I'll weld the other side and basically do the same thing. Yeah, poor MIG here is a little bit corrodified. Come on now. There you go. That's got to be easier to breathe, for crying out loud. Alright, let's get her done. What's my temp at? I think I'm okay with that. Let me go a little hotter. I don't know if I'm doing anything with the quench, but that's what I'm going to do. That I tell you for sure. And them ain't the ugliest looking welds in the world, not for a freaking moron. Don't know what the hell he's doing, huh? Anyway, I think that tool's gonna work. I think we'll just get her cleaned up a little bit. See this splatter I get? See, I don't think my feed was set right. God, I hate when that happens. Too much cleanup, but it's a tool. I'm gonna clean it up. I might throw a coat of paint on it since I'm so proud of it, and then we'll say goodbye to you. Guys, we got her all painted up nice and pretty. Get away from it. Nice and orange so you don't lose it. Freaking works. We can do this one-handed. Pops it right out. Again, it rides on both sides. Comes right out. I didn't bring a hammer with me to drive it down. Let me get her in there and then I'll show you. And do it again. Pops it right out. The paint's still a little bit wet, but short of that, no markings on the steel. Pretty damn slick, if you ask me. We got this sucker done. I like it. Again, simple project. I thought I'd throw a simple one out there because sometimes you don't do blacksmithing to do blacksmithing. You do it because it's a good way to fix something, or to like in this case, modify a tool, generate a tool that you need right away. It's not just a career. It's an asset. It's one of the tools in your toolbox. So I call this my bull bar. I'm sure I'm not the first one to come up with it. I don't know if I've ever seen one like it before, nor for the particular application to span those ridges so you're not actually causing grief to that tin. But anyway, it was something that I wanted to show you. This U-shaped bend, it's not as easy as it looks. In this case, because of the size, it wasn't too bad at all. But again, you need a tool, make a tool. Do the best you can anyway. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Here's your pretty bull bar. And we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.